It's week 42 of A Year of Wisdom. Let's get to reading. Day 284 and 285. Job 11 and 12. Next, so far, the Naamati spoke up. Shouldn't this torrent of words be answered? Does talking a lot make a person right? Is your babble supposed to put others to silence? When you mock, is no one to make you ashamed? You claim that your teaching is pure. You tell God, I am clean in your sight. I wish that God would speak, would open his mouth to answer you, would tell you the secrets of wisdom, which is worth twice as much as common sense. Understand that God is demanding of you less than your guilt deserves. Can you penetrate God's depths? Can you find out Shaddai's limits? They're as high as heaven. What can you do? They're deeper than Sheol. What can you know? Their extent is longer than the earth and broader than the sea. If he passes through, puts in prison, and assembles for judgment, who can prevent him? For he knows when people are worthless. So if he sees iniquity, won't he look into it? An empty man can gain understanding, even if he was born like a wild donkey. If you will set your heart right, if you will spread out your hands toward him, if you will put your iniquity at a distance and not let unrighteousness remain in your tents, then when you lift up your face, there will be no defect. You will be firm and free from fear. For you will forget your misery. You'll remember it like a flood that passed through long ago. Your life will be brighter than noon, even its darkness will be like morning. You will be confident because there is hope. You will look around you and lie down secure. You will rest and no one will make you afraid. Many will seek your favor, but the eyes of the wicked will fail to find comfort. They will find no way to escape and their hope will return to complete disappointment. Eeyore responded, no doubt you are the only people that matter, and when you die, so will wisdom. But I too have a brain as much as you. In no way am I inferior to you. Besides, who doesn't know these things? Anyone who calls on God and he answers him becomes a laughing stock to his friends. They make fun of an innocent, blameless man. Those at ease have contempt for misfortune, for the blow that strikes somebody already staggering. The tents of robbers prosper. The homes of those who anger God are secure, those who carry their gods in their hands. But ask the animals, they will teach you, and the birds in the air, they will tell you. Or speak to the earth, it will teach you, and the fish in the sea will inform you. Every one of them knows that the hand of Adonai has done this. In his hand is the life of every living thing and the spirit of every human being. Shouldn't the ear test words just as the palate tastes food? Is wisdom only with aged men, discernment only with long life? With God are wisdom and power. He has good counsel and understanding. When he breaks something down, it can't be rebuilt. When he imprisons someone, he can't be released. When he holds back water, there's drought. When he sends it out, it overruns the land. With him are strength and common sense. Both the misled and those who mislead are his. He leads counselors away captive. He makes fools of judges. He removes authority from kings, then binds them up as prisoners. He leads Kohanim away captive and overthrows those long in power. Those who are trusted, he deprives of speech, and he removes the discernment of the aged. He pours contempt on princes and loosens the belt of the strong. He discloses the deepest recesses of darkness and brings light into shadows dark as death. He makes nations great and destroys them. He enlarges nations, then leads them away. He removes understanding from a country's leaders and makes them wander in trackless desert. They grope in unlit darkness. He makes them stagger like drunks. Proverbs, or Mishlei, 11 and 12. False scales are an abomination to Adonai, but accurate weights please him. First comes pride, then disgrace, but with the humble is wisdom. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the duplicity of the treacherous destroys them. On the day of wrath, wealth doesn't help, but righteousness rescues from death. The righteousness of the innocent levels their way, but wickedness of the wicked makes them fall. The righteousness of the upright rescues them, but the treacherous are trapped by their own intrigues. When a wicked man dies, his hope perishes. What he hopes for from evil comes to nothing. The righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked comes to take his place. With his mouth, the hypocrite can ruin his neighbor, but by knowledge the righteous are delivered. When the righteous prosper, the city rejoices, and when the wicked perish, there's joy. By the blessing of the upright, a city is raised up, but the words of the wicked tear it down. He who belittles another lacks good sense, whereas a person of discernment stays silent. A gossip goes around revealing secrets, but a trustworthy person keeps a confidence. Without clever tactics, an army is defeated, and victory comes from much planning. He who guarantees a loan from a stranger will suffer, but refusing to underwrite is safe. A gracious woman obtains honor, aggressive men obtain wealth. A man who is kind does himself good, but the cruel does harm to himself. The profits of the wicked are illusory, but those who sow righteousness gain a true reward. Genuine righteousness leads to life, but the pursuer of evil goes to his own death. The crooked-hearted are an abomination to Adonai, but those sincere in their ways are his delight. Depend on it, the evil will not go unpunished, but the offspring of the righteous will escape. Like a gold ring in the snout of a pig is a beautiful woman who lacks good sense. The righteous desire only good, but what the wicked hope for brings wrath. Some give freely and still get richer, while others are stingy but still grow poorer. The person who blesses others will prosper. He who satisfies others will be satisfied himself. The people will curse him who withholds grain, but if he sells it, blessings will be on his head. He who strives for good obtains favor, but he who searches for evil, it comes to him. He who trusts in his riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like sprouting leaves. Those who trouble their families inherit the wind, and the fool becomes slave to the wise. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he who is wise wins souls. If the righteous are paid what they deserve here on earth, how much more the wicked and the sinner? He who loves knowledge loves discipline, but he who hates correction is a bore. A good man obtains Adonai's favor, but the schemer has condemnation. No one is made secure by wickedness, but the roots of the righteous will never be moved. A capable wife is a crown for her husband, but a shameful one is like rot in his bones. The plans of the righteous are just, but the schemes of the wicked are deceitful. The words of the wicked are a deadly ambush, but the speech of the upright rescues them. Once the wicked are down, it's the end of them, but the house of the upright endures. A person wins praise in keeping with his common sense, but a person with a warped mind is treated with contempt. Better to be despised and have a servant than to boast of one's status but have nothing to eat. A righteous man takes care of his animal, but the wicked, even his compassion is cruel. He who farms his land will have plenty of food, but he who follows futilities has no sense. The wicked covet the loot of evil men, but the root of the righteous gives forth of itself. The wicked is trapped by his own sinful speech, but the righteous finds a way out of trouble. One can be filled with good as the result of one's words, and one gets the reward one's deeds deserve. Fools suppose their way is straight, but the wise pay attention to advice. A fool's anger is known at once, but a cautious person, slighted, conceals his feelings. He who tells the truth furthers justice, but a false witness furthers deceit. Idle talk can pierce like a sword, but the tongue of the wise can heal. Truthful words will stand forever, lying speech but a moment. Deceit is in the hearts of those who plot evil, but for those advising peace there is joy. No harm can come to the righteous, but the wicked are overwhelmed with disaster. Lying lips are an abomination to Adonai, but those who deal faithfully are his delight. A cautious person conceals knowledge, but the heart of a fool blurts out folly. The diligent will rule, while the lazy will be put to forced labor. Anxiety in a person's heart weighs him down, but a kind word cheers him up. The righteous guides his friend's way rightly, but the way of the wicked will lead them astray. A lazy man doesn't roast what he hunted, But when a man is diligent, his wealth is precious. In the road of righteousness is life. In the road of righteousness is life. No death is in its pathway. Ecclesiastes, or Kohelet 11 and 12. Send your resources out over the seas. Eventually, you will reap a return. Divide your merchandise into 7 or 8 shares, since you don't know what disasters may come on the earth. If the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves on the earth. Whether a tree falls toward the north or the south, the place where the tree falls is where it stays. He who keeps watching the wind will never sow. Just as you don't know the way of the wind or how bones grow in a pregnant woman's womb, so you don't know the work of God, the maker of everything. In the morning sow your seed, and don't slack off until evening. For you don't know which sowing will succeed, this or that, or if both will do well. Then the light will be sweet, and it will be a pleasure to see the sun. For if a person lives many years, let him take joy in them all. Yet remembering that there will be many days of darkness, that all to come is futile. Young person, if you spend your youth only having fun, if you use your early years just to entertain yourself, if you follow your heart as you live your life, and let your eyes be your guide, understand that for all these things God will bring you to judgment. Therefore, remove anger from your heart and keep from harming your body, for neither adolescence nor youth has any lasting value. So remember your Creator while you are young, before the evil days come, and the years approach when you will say, "They no longer give me pleasure," before the sun and the light grow dim, also the moon and the stars, before the clouds return after the rain. On the day when the guards of the house are trembling and men of courage are bent over double, when the women stop grinding grain, because there are so few, when the women at the windows can no longer see out, when the doors to the streets are kept shut, when the noise from the grain mill fades, when a person is startled by the chirp of a bird, yet their singing is hard to hear, when they will be afraid to go up a hill, and terrors will stalk the way, even though the almond tree is in bloom, when the locust can only drag itself along, and the caperberry has no aphrodisiac effect, because the person is headed for his eternal home, and the mourners are already gathering in the marketplace. Before the silver cord is snapped, the bowl of gold is cracked, the pitcher is shattered at the spring, the pulley is broken at the cistern. The dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Pointless, meaningless, says Kohelet. Nothing matters at all. Not only was Kohelet wise, he also taught the people what he knew. Also, he weighed, researched, and corrected many ethical sayings. Kohelet worked to develop an attractive writing style in which he expressed the truth straightforwardly. The sayings of the wise are as sharp as goads, and those given by leaders of assemblies are like well-fixed nails. In this case, they are presented by a single shepherd. In addition, my son, take heed. One can write many books, there is no end to it, and one can study so much that it wearies his flesh. Here's the final conclusion. Now that you have heard everything, fear God and keep his mitzvot. This is what being human is all about. For God will bring to judgment everything we do, including every secret, whether good or bad. And as always, thank you so much for being here today. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe right there and click the bell if you want to get notifications. And hit that like button too. And I will see you tomorrow.
Standing at the crossroads, I'm lost without a clue. I need a big pink neon sign to show me what to do. I thank you, Lord. It glorifies you when you're the only answer. I praise you, Lord, for holding what's too much for me. And I'm amazed by you, Lord, because nothing's too big and nothing's too small to lay at your